Okay, folks, welcome to Coffee and Revelation on Friday. We are in Revelation chapter 18, and yesterday we saw about the politicians, and today it's the merchants' lament. Let's read from verse 11. The merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her because no one buys their cargoes anymore. Cargoes of gold, silver, precious stones and pearls, fine linen, purple, silk and scarlet cloth, every sort of citron wood, and articles of every kind, made of ivory, costly wood, bronze, iron, and marble, cargoes of cinnamon and spice, of incense, myrrh and frankincense, of wine and olive oil, of fine flour and wheat, cattle and sheep, horses and carriages, and human beings sold as slaves. By the way, that verse alone, that last phrase, human beings sold as slaves. There's always been slavery in human society. One of the great tragedies of the 21st century is that slavery has been reintroduced into the Western world, largely, I think, because of our abandonment of Christianity. They will say, we'll continue reading, the fruit you longed for is gone from you. All your luxury and splendor have vanished, never to be recovered. The merchants who sold these things and gained their wealth from her will stand far off, terrified at her torment. They will weep and mourn and cry out, woe, woe to you, great city, dressed in fine linen, purple and scarlet, and glittering with gold, precious stones and pearls. In 1 hour, such great wealth has been brought to ruin. No one buys their cargo anymore. You're trading, you can't trade anymore. Babylon has been the primary consumer of the merchants' products. And as a result, they became rich from her. But her destruction and removal means there's no longer any buyers for the merchants' goods. So that's why they mourn, because it's gone, their means of making wealth. I think that's the trouble. I'm going to try some economics here. I think that's the trouble in having all the wealth in the world tied up in one city and one system. You know, let me be a little political here. Is it a healthy system in the United Kingdom where everything is tied in to one city, London? Or it seems like that. Or wasn't it interesting, and still interesting, that the argument about the European Union, which was the European Economic Community, now the EU, which the UK, of course, has left, but the argument was always about economics. The doom merchants say, how can we trade if we are out of the single market? Now, please be careful here. I'm not saying the EU is Babylon. In fact, I'm not saying that at all, even though it includes Rome. But I think one of the lessons of Revelation is we shouldn't put all our eggs in one basket. Australia, for example, had this, and still has, this enormous trading deficit with China. But take the wine industry here. So much of it, everything was more or less going to China. And then when China put a boycott in, suddenly the wine merchants were in deep trouble. And I think they're learning, hey, we need to diversify a little bit. The trouble with being in a consumer society which focuses on conspicuous consumption is that that society itself will be consumed. The merchants mourn because of the loss of income, not because of the loss of life. They were not the soldiers who were doing the killing, but they funded it. And isn't that always the same? Rome itself was famous for its excess. The Emperor Vitellius managed to spend the equivalent of £7 million, over $10 million, in 1 year on food alone. Now, we need to take lessons from this, I think. Those of us who are Christians, and if you're not a Christian as well, I hope you can understand and see how significant this is. We too can easily fall into the trap of excessive luxuries without asking too many questions. In Dundee, there used to be areas where if you went to a local pub, you could get a car radio for 10 quid. You don't ask questions because you know that it's been stolen. You think then you bear no responsibility for the anguish of the person who it's been stolen from, but you do. When we purchase our cheaper goods, clothes, food, other manufactured goods, do we still have the ask no questions attitude? Would you buy a cheaper watch even if you knew it was made by women in the Philippines staying in dormitories, in effect slave labour, and being paid under $1 an hour? Revelation is telling us that God will judge us for our unthinking greed. One of the things is that we as Christians should be intelligent and discerning consumers. In a society run on, for, and by money, we should be discriminating in how we use whatever money the Lord gives us. Let justice roll on like a river, says Amos, righteousness like a never-failing stream, even, or perhaps especially, in our shopping. There are, you can't boycott everything, but there are things. I boycott Timex watches, and I can tell you about it sometime why. There are other products that I will not buy because I know how they are made and I know the injustice involved. And I think that is one power that we as people do have in a consumer society. We consume and we should talk. We should let our money speak. Anyway, the merchants mourn because Babylon's fallen. Wealth is temporary. Notice again, gone in an hour. Gone in an hour. You could spend ages building up your portfolio. Saving, saving, saving. Gone in an hour. Gone very quickly. We brought nothing into this world, we'll take nothing out of it. Maybe we should seek our riches elsewhere. All right, God bless you, and see you for Songs on Sunday, and see you on Monday when we come back to this last lament in Revelation 18. Bye.